Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you are all very well. Today I'd like to talk about speed limits. Are we ever allowed to go over the speed limit? If so, when? However, before I continue, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, because without you guys, this video today would not be possible. If you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, then now is the time to hit the subscribe button so that you do not miss out on future videos. Okay, without wasting time, let's talk about speed limits. The most important thing to remember is that all speed limits are maximums. They are not targets which we have to try to reach. Now, a speed limit sign, a legal speed limit sign, is always in a red circle. So if you have the 30 sign in a red circle, that would mean no more than 30 miles per hour. That is a legal speed limit. There are no exceptions to that sign. If you see that sign, you are not permitted to drive over 30 miles an hour. It doesn't matter what the emergency is. It doesn't matter if you're overtaking and the person you're overtaking just doesn't slow down or even starts increasing the speed. You cannot go over the legal speed limit. So back to the original question. When is a speed limit not a speed limit? The answer is when it's an advisable speed limit. Now, as I said earlier, a sign in a red circle, it's a prohibited sign, something we must not do. So if you see the 30 in a red circle, no more than 30. If you see 50 in a red circle, no more than 50. If you see 20 in a red circle, maximum 20, no more than 20, no exceptions to the rule. However, advisable speed limits are not in a red circle. Advisable speed limits are normally found in a square or a rectangular sign like this. Let me give you a few examples of advisory speed limits. You may find some outside schools. As we drive down this road, we can see a sign which clearly states that we are entering a 30-mile-per-hour road. The sign is in a red circle and therefore is a legal requirement. We must not drive over this speed limit. However, further down the road on the right, we can see a school warning sign. Underneath it reads, "School, 20 when lights show." This 20 is not in a red circle, and therefore it cannot be enforced. It is an advisory sign. Regardless of whether the lights are flashing or not, regardless of the amount of pedestrians on the road, a driver driving down at 30 miles per hour cannot be prosecuted for speeding. Having said that, it doesn't matter what the speed limit of a road is. A driver needs to adjust their speed according to the environment. And due to that reason, even though the police cannot prosecute a driver that's zooming down at 30 miles an hour, even though the police cannot prosecute him for speeding, the driver can be prosecuted for driving without due care and attention, which is a lot worse. Let's move on to our second example. Once again, I'm entering a 30-mile-per-hour road. As it's in a red circle, this is a legal sign and I am not allowed to go over the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. However, in the distance, there's another sign. This is a warning sign making us aware that the road is bending towards the left. Underneath, there is an information sign. Information signs are always in a square or a rectangle. It advises us that we should not approach the bend at any higher speed than 25 miles per hour. These advisory signs are there for a reason, sometimes for more than one reason. Yes, we have the sharp bend towards the left, but here we also have a fire station onto our right. Therefore, we have the added possibility that we may have to give way to an emergency vehicle. Now for our third example, roadworks. You may find this sign when the council are resurfacing the road. For your information, it means loose chippings. The legal speed limit on the road may be 30 miles an hour. It may be 40 or even 50. However, in this particular case, the council is advising drivers to drive at no more than 20 miles per hour. Now, you as a driver can either choose to take the advice of the council and drive at 20 miles per hour, or you can choose to ignore their advice and drive at the legal speed limit, whatever that may be on the road. The council may not be able to prosecute you for not listening to their advice, for not taking their advice. However, if you were to drive, let's say, at the higher speed, at 30 miles an hour, let's say, rather than the recommended speed, the loose chippings may cause damage to your vehicle, and that could cost you hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And next, we're going to move on to motorway speed signs. The national speed limit of motorways in the UK is 70 miles per hour. However, we need to be extremely careful because some motorways, for example, the M25, which goes all the way around London and is commonly known as the biggest car park in the country, the speed limit on the M25 is not 70 miles an hour, it's actually variable. So it can be 70 one day, the next day the same part of the M25 may be different. So you're driving along the M25 and you may see this sign. This is a temporary speed sign. However, it's in a red circle. Therefore, it is a legal sign. It's a legal requirement. By law, you cannot go over that speed. If you do, you can be prosecuted and you can end up getting points and losing your license even. Now, occasionally you may see this sign instead. Again, it's a 50 mile an hour sign. However, this sign is not in a red circle and therefore is not a legal sign. It is an advisory sign. The authorities are advising us to drive no more than 50 miles per hour. Once again, you can choose to drive at 50, or if you want, you can choose to drive at a higher speed. The police will not be able to prosecute you if you went at a higher speed. However, please bear in mind, these advisory signs are there for a reason. You may not be able to see the reason from where you are at that point, but a mile down the road, you may truly wish that you had slowed down. Well, that brings the video to a conclusion. I really hope you found benefit. If you have found benefit from this video, please do share with at least one person, because by sharing the video, you're growing the channel, and that enables me to make more videos for you guys. Thank you for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.